Hi, it's Bren Murphy. Just this morning, it's talking about ideas and thoughts as being pieces of string in your mind, and a new thought is a thin piece of string. Okay, but over time, the more you pick up that string, the more you think about it, the more you ruminate and process on a thought, it becomes thicker and thicker like rope. Imagine like the neural pathway in your brain, it thickens into like a rope-like consistency, and then it becomes more part of you, it's more present in your mind. So the idea is that if you have a negative experience, to be able to let it go, so it stays as a piece of string, and compared to like a positive experience that you want to relive, and you want to make a part of your sort of life story, you will immerse yourself in it and you'll relive that, and you'll make that thick into a piece of rope in your mind. But unfortunately, some of us have a tendency to relive negative experiences and negative moments and make those negative chapters or episodes into rope in our mind, into thick thoughts that are always there, and they sort of have a big presence in who we are and how we define ourselves. And that's the key sort of takeaway this morning, is that if we can let go of a thought and not invest too much in it and not have it thickened into a rope and it stays like a string, then we can let it go and move on, and it doesn't sort of dominate or colour our whole interpretation of life. It's particularly relevant with childhood episodes that you let define your life, because you do give them the power to define your life. So there can be a childhood episode of, for example, of a bullying episode, or a episode of where you're sort of picked last for the soccer team, and you've given that more weight or more perspective or more power by ruminating on it and sort of letting it define you and say, well, I was never any good at sport anyway. And to this day, it's become as thick as a rope in your mind, and it still might interfere with you pursuing exercise or maintaining your weight or things like that. So it can start at something really apparently insignificant at a really early stage, where it's just a string, and by you handling it and reprocessing it and ruminating on it and thinking about it and building it into part of your life story, that string thickens from just use like a muscle into a rope, and the rope sort of is tying you down, holding you down, because it's such a big part of you. So part of a visualization is to look back at those key moments where, let's just keep running with the time you're left out of the soccer team or something, and visualize being left out of the soccer team, but this time visualize it as a blurry postage stamp size image in the back of your mind, and you can't even really make out the characters clearly because it's all pixelated, it's all grainy, it's all static, and it's not really well remembered. And then instead of seeing it, for example, in contrast, to see it as clear as the light of day, and you can remember each second and each moment as you were ignored and you were left behind and you felt isolated and worthless and lonely. This time you look at it and say, I can't really remember how I felt or what it was like, because you're sort of letting it go and it's drifting away. So that's a big part of being able to let go and let things drift. And again, it's about making space for growth. By doing that, by making that previous experience, that old negative, take less of your processing power of your mind, you're open to let new things in, and new opportunities that occur on a daily basis can come into your life. Instead of having this old story, sort of your whole mental library is sort of chock-a-block, and there's no allowance for any new experiences or any new knowledge because you're already full. So that's the key takeaway, is if we can let the old things go and move on and move away and become less sort of prominent in our personal story, we're open, we have like a vast space in our life to create the newness. Okay, because if you're living in the past with all this old stuff that's from years before, nothing new can happen because you're full, you're chock-a-block right now. So if we can create some space, we can create some growth, and we can invite some new things in. Okay, it's Bren Murphy at The Life Coach. I look forward to an email. You can email me, bren@thelifecoach.net.au, or visit one of my other sites at kindness.net.au or meditate.net.au. Thanks a lot.